find myself in San Clemente, California at Missing Link Tattoo. We are here to get to the bottom of what brings people into a tattoo shop, but more importantly, what keeps them coming back. This is Temporary Belonging. Southern California. Freeways and hustle, and that constant pressure to look like you've got it all together. A place where everyone's trying to reinvent themselves every other week. And yet we find ourselves at one of the few places that still feels grounded. It's just a guy who shows up and opens a door and puts a permanent, carefully articulated tattoo on someone who trusts him enough to sit down and stay still. So I asked him how he got here and why he's doing it. And more importantly, why do people keep coming back?
There's a little abnormality in my childhood. You know, nothing bad, but just different. One of my uncles had tattoos, rode a motorcycle, like he was that cool guy. He died when I was like 6 years old. That was the seed in my head that was like, tattoos are cool because he's cool. And that sort of led me on the path that I'm at now.
It's been almost 30 years since Stix and I became friends, bonding over our love of punk rock music, hot rods, and driving late nights around Dana Point. In fact, Stix was with me when I got my very first tattoo at only 17 years old. And in between the chaos of life, growing older, and the pursuit of whatever it is we're pursuing, we've both been able to carve out a very awesome career in the world of art. Mine being photography, and Stix being specifically in tattooing.
I started tattooing on my own, not knowing what the hell I was doing. When I was like 19, I got my first tattoo machine. I got sober and I realized that if I wanted to actually do this as a career and take it seriously, I needed an apprenticeship. And I was lucky enough that I found somebody, his name was Peter, that took me under his wing. The knowledge that I gained within 6 months far succeeded like anything that I learned before. Because there was people that knew what they were doing, telling me what to do.
Being a successful artist can be a very subjective thing, and not everyone values the success in the same light. For me, success means putting food on the table and enjoying myself along the way. But for others, it can mean something entirely different. But the one constant that does remain is that your customers dictate that success, especially in a service industry, like being a tattoo artist.
Tattooing is a very special thing. And I think that that's sort of gotten lost in the sauce over the last decade or two. But there is still a very primal aspect to tattooing where you're physically harming somebody a little bit. It's not that bad, but it's permanence. 80 or 90% of the people I tattoo will carry those tattoos with them for the rest of their life. And like, that's not lost on me. For me, tattooing has never been transactional. The end result is transactional because it's monetary, right? But if somebody walks in and is asking for a tattoo, my first thought is, how much money am I going to make? It's, okay, how can I facilitate what you want to get done?
This is nothing but experience just shining through, and it's a super valid lesson for any up-and-comers in almost any art industry. The service that you provide dictates the longevity of your career, and Stix has not only absorbed that fact, but he has put it into motion by spending the last 20 plus years as a thriving tattoo artist.
This industry is unlike any other. I mean, barbers, photographers, there's a lot of people that are independent contractors that do things that have to do all the business side of stuff and the client side of stuff. But tattooing, I think, even today, does have a very special niche in how you deal with clients.
This assessment is more than spot on, and in an industry that was founded on the counterculture, yet found itself at the forefront of all Western culture, the core question remains, which is, what keeps people coming back? What is it about spending a couple hours in that chair that makes people feel like they belong?
There's a genuine transference of energy when you're tattooing somebody. My goal is to make them comfortable first off. Before we talk about price, before we talk about any of the artwork, I would need to get to know them a little bit. Name, what are you wanting to do? Tattooing for me is like, yeah, there is a cool factor about it, but it's a much deeper thing than just having cool artwork on you.
Where did you want to put this one?
This one, like right there.
Okay. Right on the vein.
Meet Trevor, an 0311 in the Scout Platoon with Weapons Company, and a frequent client of Stix. Trevor let us sit in on a session and ask him a few questions, and helped us get a little closer to solving the answer of what it is about that chair that keeps bringing people back.
Kind of bounced around 1 or 2 more times, and then nothing really satisfied what I wanted or what I need. And I came back, and he's been doing a really good job on just filling up the rest of my sleeve. And I really liked the vibes he gave, and then also just like the old school colors and everything. It just went very well. I liked it a lot. You're able to have like a genuine conversation. It's not just fluff and filler, like, oh, I just got past the time. So I really enjoyed just being able to talk to him about it, getting to know him also, and then also him trying to get to know me. Like the vibes, like the shop, a lot of really cool people in there too. So it just felt pretty homey, I guess to say is the correct word for it.
Now, I've been to a lot of places where your customer is just the customer, but it's different here. The vibe is 100% different. Here, everyone feels like family. And I think that is what makes the difference. I think that is what keeps people coming back, and that is what makes this business and Stix as an artist thrive in his industry.
At least for me, kind of paranoid at times with certain things. So starting off was a little bit like that, and then after the first 1 and then 2, the trust started gaining a lot more, and then I sending him what I want and him taking the time out of his day to not just be like, oh, yep, right here, but going in, tweaking like the little things that you would need on it to make it fit properly is definitely giving me like a sense of trust with him on that, to be able to make it fit for the placement and just vibe very well on your sleeve. So
My hope for when they walk out is that they're super stoked on the tattoo, whatever the tattoo may be, whether it be a little traditional sparrow or a dog portrait that passed away. Like, my goal is to do a kick-ass tattoo on somebody and they walk out of here feeling like they got what they paid for, and above that, to be like stoked on the tattoo.
you're not like really a number here. It's more so like more of a personal connection, I guess say. So that's always also a thing I like about it.
You don't walk into a place like this and just belong. And for a few hours, I didn't feel like a stranger. Not because I fit in, but because of trust. Trust is the currency in rooms like this, and it's expensive for a reason. And temporary belonging is what trust looks like when it only lasts an afternoon. Watching a great artist work is like watching somebody keep a promise, steady, with patience. But if you strip away all the ink, the only thing that's left is simple. A person you trust and a place that feels familiar. And that is temporary belonging. So hard. Watching a great artist work